Yeah.
He
Loved it.
was fantastic. I mean, better than anything else I've ever seen him do. That was he was so good.
I saved
You know
my
what,
bet
Mike?
for my
You know
biggest moment.
you know what, too? He was way less annoying than he is on the Buffalo Plus channel.
There's the
Sorry.
open.
This is the Buffalo Plus Podcast, brought to you by Connors and Ferris.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Buffalo Plus Podcast presented by Connors and Ferris. Mike Catalana, Dan Fates, Jenna Cottrell will be joining us remotely from her honeymoon because she is a dedicated employee and hardworking. We will get a wedding review, how I did, how you did,
Yeah,
how she did,
right?
the whole day. It's awesome. Also want to talk some trades. Obviously, the big news around the NFL, Dolphins, Steelers they're calling it a
That's a pretty big trade. You don't
blockbuster
see
trade.
it, yeah, that way too often. So we could talk about that. I did want to add this, just so all of you know. We just asked Jenna. Cool.
Yes.
She was in to come on.
Yes.
And of course, her husband, Zach, was like, go ahead. Go ahead. He knows.
Yeah.
So
Our brains are also content. We put out the pre-ceremony
that's right.
interview.
Pre-game, post-game show.
Yeah, exactly. So we're recapping it, as well as the NFL is coming out with their top 100 players starting today.
Yeah.
And you were saying it's 2 players every day
this is
for 50
different.
days?
I don't think they've done it before. 2 a day for 50 days.
Yeah.
So they get to like September 1st.
Yeah.
And then must be 2 and 1.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that.
So all those things and more, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't already, make it Jenna's wedding gift to her.
Yes.
That can be it. But again,
share the pod.
Obviously the trade today
Yeah.
is Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith and a 7th round pick going to Pittsburgh for Minkah Fitzpatrick and a 7th round pick in return. It got me thinking.
Well, let's talk about the trade here for a second.
Okay. But first I was saying it didn't make me start to think that we see this as like a dead period.
Yeah.
Moves can still happen.
Oh, yeah.
So it got me thinking about what could a possible move be for the Bills possibly. But first, Mike, your thoughts on the trade in general.
Well, it's funny because Minkah was a Dolphin. Then he went to the Steelers.
Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey wanted out. Jonnu Smith wanted a new deal. So all of this stuff happens. These are big names. We don't get that many trades like this.
Yeah.
Where you get, I mean, both of these guys have been, especially Minkah and Ramsey, have been, I think, 5-time Pro Bowlers. Like these guys have been in their careers.
It's been a little bit.
Has been. When it was done, I'm thinking, who wins this trade? And then it hit me.
The Bills.
And the Ravens. Bills and Ravens win this trade.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's going to. Pittsburgh, they're acquiring a player and another player. They have an old team right now. I know the numbers may say differently, but they got a lot of guys 30 plus.
Peter Schrager tweeted out that, they think that the Steelers think they're in the Super Bowl window. They're going for it this year.
Yeah. Congrats, Pete. Go ahead. I want to see how they do in that division. If Cincinnati gets their act together, that's going to be a bear for them. And they've got, and by the way, and they also gave more money to, in the deal to Ramsey.
Correct.
And you got Watt sitting out there going, where's my money?
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. But Peter Schrager tweeted today, I've been laughed at on TV and off for the take, but you don't go and acquire Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, and Darius Slay if you don't have serious Super Bowl aspirations. They are all in moves, whether they are or not. Pittsburgh thinks they're close.
Now, I will say this. Those guys have all been very good players at times in their careers.
2019, 2020, this is a hell of a football team.
Darius Slay could still play, but he's 34. I mean, these are, Jalen Ramsey's now 30. Obviously, Rodgers is 41. He'll be 42. Right. A player like this or two, sometimes like Cam Hayward is what, 36? Like they've got, and let's see what they do with Watt now in that case for Pittsburgh. But they certainly have name recognition now, if nothing else.
But we've also learned that doesn't.
It usually doesn't work.
It usually doesn't work in the NFL because we've always talked about it. I went back because I was trying to think of when were these players at their peak. Now, look, Jonnu Smith's coming off a really good year.
Yeah.
Loved him. What he did for that Miami offense. Like he really found a niche and became kind of what they thought New England was getting when they got him from the Titans back in the day, when it's like, oh, wow, they got this offensive freak of nature tight end, and it just really hasn't become anything. He had a good season, but he wants a new deal. Like this is 2019, 2020 when you're getting what was peak Jalen Ramsey. And now again, whether it fits better in the system, I don't know, but I just don't. Those guys are recognizable in name only. They're rhinos.
Yeah.
Like they're not the star players that they were. They're past their prime.
Yes. I mean, well, it's certainly closer to the end. I will say Slay was pretty good. He was pretty good, but he is 34 and he's a
But
corner.
you have a love-hate relationship with him.
No, I've always liked, I mean, Slay was always good with the Eagles, maybe not as good the year before, but again, he's 34.
Sure.
And in the NFL, these type of things where it's like, I'm not saying like dream team, that was referenced at one time. It was actually the Eagles and it was terrible.
That was
it's
bad.
said sometimes you just bring in a bunch of guys. We'll see if it makes them better. Look, I will give them this. They have been a notch above mediocre for a series of years. They make the playoffs, they get blown out. I guess this is their way of saying this is what we're going to do. By the way, in the other end, maybe more importantly, it's just the start of them cleaning house in Miami.
Yeah.
And I think Tyreek Hill sent out, not the most original. How many times do you have to see that?
Will
Smith in the empty room.
At Fresh Prince meme.
This on the Bills, my only concern, and I mentioned Tyreek Hill, said, well, would you ever want him in the Bills? My only thought is absolutely could see Kansas City make a play for him.
Has it been long enough that he can be traded back? Didn't we talk about that the one time?
Oh, they could. Andy would take him back.
I know, but there was a rule that you couldn't be traded back to the team within a certain time.
Really?
I thought we talked about that on this pod.
I don't know about that rule. Why would there be a rule you can't trade him back? Maybe there is. I don't know.
We'll look that up.
It doesn't happen very often. Yeah, he did get traded. They got a bunch of draft picks for him.
Yes.
Anyhow, we'll see.
Miami's cleaning house.
That's the smart move to make. They should be starting to clean house.
It's going to get ugly.
All right, I want to hear about your trade.
So it got me thinking about who could the Bills possibly, like what move would you be excited about? Because you talk about those names. So would there be a move that now teams maybe are evaluating heading into training camp and they're saying, hey, this isn't what we thought about a player, about their team, about their offense or defense moving forward? It's a guy we talked about before on here. He was a guy I've talked about all of season. But you brought up TJ Watt.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, we've talked about it in the sense of you paid DK Metcalf, you waited around for Aaron Rodgers to pay him. You're making all these moves, and you haven't paid the guy that has been your best player, your franchise-defining player for the last 8 years. That doesn't go well in the locker room. And if you're trying to mend the fence of a TJ Watt extension, before it was, well, you want to sign him before Myles Garrett gets the extension. He's not going to get Myles Garrett money. He's 30 years old. I thought I looked it up today. My question to you is, there's the talk of what it would cost to get TJ Watt. He's on the last year of his deal, right?
Right.
He's not what he was. We talked about, I think, the last 11 games he didn't have a tackle this season. I've seen a lot of people say it's a third round pick to get TJ Watt. That comes with the caveat then of you having to sign him to a new deal, an extension. Right. Why do you have to sign him to a new deal?
Well, technically you don't.
You don't.
But that is part of what it is with a player. Like you make that agreement with the team. They would let you talk to the agent and get a deal done.
Understand all.
You're right. The player doesn't have a lot of leeway there. I mean, some players, I guess, could have no trade clauses, but I don't think he does.
So it's again, TJ Watt has been one of the best defensive players.
The Bills might want to redo a deal so they can make it work for their cap.
Sure. And whether that's hitting the piggy bank of Connor McGovern or something like that to free up. I didn't do the cap transaction yet because it doesn't matter and you can make it work however you wanted to. But I looked at it and I said, I thought of the Rams signing Von Miller.
Yeah.
They didn't extend him. They wanted to.
It was mid-season trade.
Okay, mid-season. But if you're telling me you could get TJ Watt on a rental for 1 year for a 3rd-round pick. Brandon Beane has spent 3rd-round picks on rentals that have been a lot worse and haven't re-signed. Amari Cooper, like the Hines, Calvin Benjamin, all of his.
I will only say to you, I think it's very difficult to take him on his current contract with his guaranteed money and make it fit for this year. I think the Bills would need to make it spread the cap hit out if you looked at it.
Well, the cap's not real.
Well, in that case, it is, because you don't have anywhere to go with anywhere to go with the money. That's why you would redo it. Now, the Bosa thing stands in the way. Like, if they would have not made a Bosa move.
Sure.
Because your idea is a similar thing to what they did with Bosa.
Yep.
Now, he was a free agent. They signed him to a 1-year deal. He's coming off some injuries. It's weird with Watt, because you talk to players around the league, like Watt was still considered that guy. And I don't know what happened. Maybe he wasn't healthy. It's rare for him to just be ineffective.
Correct.
For a while.
Non-existent.
But I don't know. I don't know what they would do. Yeah. Would you love to have him on the Bills? Sure.
Again, I don't know. I'm with you. I understand. I don't know how the cap would work. I believe you can make it work, because
so what would be wrong with taking him and extending him and spreading the cap hit out?
I'm fine with that too, but that is another hurdle where I look at it at the short term. Jenna talked about it in the trust tree a few weeks ago. My fear is that you're running out the window. What is wrong with going in this year and saying, we got Greg Rousseau, we got Bosa, and we're adding Watt, and we're going to be this massive team? And again, I looked at it and I go, they have spent 3rd-round picks on way worse trades.
Yeah.
To get a rental for TJ Watt for a year, I would do it in a heartbeat. And it made me think of, if I'm TJ too, he doesn't have the power in this spot.
Right. So you could say he would have power
out
at the end of the year.
Ball out, and you can go wherever you want, and there'll probably be some team that will gladly overpay for you and not have to pay for the trade.
Yeah, I
know rentals are so rare, it feels like, during this point of the season, but we see those trades, whether it's in baseball or hockey or wherever. It's like, well, this guy's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. I would take TJ Watt for a 3rd-round pick in a heartbeat and say, TJ, ball out. If you love it here in Buffalo, if you want to win, if you want to go to the AFC Championship game, here's the team to go to. And if you have success, you're going to make so much money this offseason.
Now, his cash for this year is $21 million. His cap hit, now some of that cap hit would stay with the Steelers because it was based on the options or the signing bonus. So I would think that in this case, it would still take the Bills to manipulate the money and extend it.
Manipulate the money to make it work.
Yeah. But his base salary this year is $21 million.
So it's just one of those things where everybody goes, well, you're trading for TJ Watt and then you have to extend him. And I guess I just was sitting here today going, why do you have to extend him? I get it for the salary cap reasons. I understand that. I don't believe it's real, but I understand it. But just the fact of, what is wrong with saying we're doing this for a year?
Yeah.
Hey, TJ, we hope you love it here. We hope when you have success, we're going to have success, and then you can go and you then can pick your team with your contract whenever you want.
I think if you could make it work financially, they would want to do it.
It's like, why not Watt?
All right. And you're all right. People would think it's a higher cost in terms of the transaction. I don't think it is.
I don't think it is.
It's in the final year of his deal. And it is funny when we talk about these trades and you say like a 3rd-round pick. A 3rd-round pick from the Bills is a lot different than a 3rd-round pick from the Patriots.
The Browns.
Right. Just they're teams that, I mean, you're talking about the difference between it being a pick in the, what would that be, in the low 60s?
Yeah.
Or it being almost 100.
Yeah. So
I like it. I like the player.
I like the player too. And I'm sitting here, and he was a guy that I've been sitting here pretty much all off season saying, make a move. The Steelers don't know what they are. And I don't think any of these moves solidify what they are, or I thought it was great. DraftKings, it's an odds book for whatever you want to say. And I know there are dumb odds books where they say like, oh, this player is most likely to go to this team next, right? Whatever. The Steelers before the trade were plus 800 or 8,000 to go to the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl. After the trade, they're plus 8,000. Like, nothing changed and said like, oh, the Steelers now are a great team. They are what they are.
Yeah.
And I go, whatever you want to say about, well, it's just odds. They don't give away free money. So they don't even see this as a factor. And I'm looking at this as Pittsburgh and I'm going, why not?
Yeah. Well, let's call Bean up. When we get him on the patio,
Get him on the patio.
we'll break it down.
We had some good questions for Bean, hypothetical questions when we were sitting at the bar at Jen's wedding.
And the longer we were at the bar,
The wilder our questions got.
the more direct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
We'll be good. We'll be good with him.
where do you think TJ Watt would be on the top 100 players as the NFL comes out with those?
So he was, it's funny. I was looking at last year's top 100. Now, keep in mind, this is voted on by the players.
Mhm.
And it's based on the play. Like, it's not based on their fit for a team or
Correct.
like an MVP kind of vote. So it was funny when I looked back at it at last year's list and I thought, really, Tyreek Hill was number one? Well, he did have an off the charts year. He was on his way to going for over 2,000.
Yep.
And he had a crazy year. But what cracked me up, now Watt was on there. Watt was in I think he was top 20
Yeah.
somewhere in there. But I looked at the Bills that were on the list.
Yeah.
So it was Josh.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was two guys who were no longer with the team that were in. So two of those guys. And then it was Dion. So Dion was the last one.
Yeah.
But the two guys who made it, I wrote down the numbers for it. So
Give me
was,
the numbers.
Oh, you had the numbers from last year?
No, you give me the number.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who I think it is.
Number 56 of the top 100. So by the way,
Diggs.
we'll get to Josh is in a minute.
Yeah.
Diggs 56. And it
Sure.
listed him as Buffalo Bills, Houston Texans, which was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And then another guy was number 65.
Isn't on the team anymore. There's three options. I will say Mitch Morse.
No, good guess because Mitch was really solid in his time with the Bills. No, it was Jordan Poyer. Yeah.
Wow.
And then think about it. He went to Miami. It was not good. And at the moment, he's out of the league.
Yeah.
But it was based on that year before. And we've talked about it. Like, Poyer balls out. I mean, he just played hard, played through everything.
One of the toughest players I've ever covered.
So I was happy he got that recognition for him. But then the league speaks.
Yeah.
In terms of what was out there. The Bills spoke and they let him go. And then Dion was 94.
Yeah.
So last year, not for last season, for the season before.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember where Josh was in the top 100?
11.
12.
Yeah, I didn't think he was in the top 10. That was a big.
Yeah.
That was another one of those coming off the unnamed executive saying Josh was overrated.
Yes.
It was a perfect storm.
Now, keep this in mind. If you're looking at players like that year, you couldn't play the position much better than Tyreek Hill did that year.
Correct.
He did everything, and he was doing it with Tua. I mean, it was not exactly Burrow or Josh or Mahomes or whatever. And sometimes there are players listed ahead of him. Like there was, it was like Fred Warner was right ahead of phenomenal linebacker.
Yeah.
So if you're judging him as who are the best linebackers, it's not a slight on Josh. To me, a slight on Josh is where you have the other quarterbacks.
Correct.
Because obviously you're trying to say like this player, it's Myles Garrett. Hard to be better at your position than Myles Garrett has been. So that's how they voted him in. The question will be, where did the players vote Josh in this year?
He's top 5.
I would hope so.
He's top 5. It'll still be very interesting to see where the players vote him in amongst the Mahomes Lamar conversation.
So, by the way,
right?
Yeah. Again, it's how you judge it. It's funny. Saquon Barkley with the Giants was in like the 80s.
Yeah.
He'll be top 5.
Yeah.
Right? Again, he had a phenomenal season. He did not have a phenomenal season.
Where was Derrick Henry?
Yeah, I'd have to look to see where Henry was. I think, if I'm guessing, the way the vote goes, Josh is in the top 5. Lamar is going to be 1.
I agree.
And I don't have any problem with anybody saying Lamar is number 1.
No.
He had phenomenal numbers last year.
I think Josh will be ahead of Mahomes.
He should be. Strictly on playing the quarterback of the position.
It goes back to Lamar being first team All-Pro quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, I get it.
Well, it's the way Chris Sims did his vote. We talked about it.
Yep.
He had Lamar first, and he had Josh second, Burrow,
three,
third,
Mahomes.
strictly playing the position of quarterback
Yeah.
for that year. So I'll be fascinated to see.
And Lamar was crazy
Yeah,
this
his
past
numbers
year.
were great.
His numbers were crazy. So I
And there's
think you're
no
right.
other context here, like we
Yeah.
talked about with MVP. Who did Josh do
The
it
top
with?
5 will be in no particular order: Lamar, Josh, Saquon, Myles Garrett, Justin Jefferson, or Jamar Chase.
I think maybe Chase this past year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you have Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. Two guys on a trajectory to the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah.
No question. They have been incredible.
Be fascinated too to see where Kyle Hamilton, because
Yeah.
he's going to be way up there for what he did with that defense. Like
Yeah.
when he went back to more of that safety position, that defense was better.
And listen, like in anything else, players vote for who they like.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
But they're also like, a lot of them are like, it was funny. I was listening to one of the guys from the Chiefs who was talking about Tooney when he moved to tackle.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, Joe, you see who we got like the next 5 weeks? And it was all the guys like Watt and Myles Garrett and that list of players the guys they know. Like Lane Johnson, you talked about Watt. Lane Johnson says like if you asked Lane Johnson, by the way, Lane Johnson, who has been the best right tackle in the NFL, last year was like 82nd.
Yeah.
He'll be top 20 this year. They won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And
that's part of it. It's the
does.
It's the recognition of those kind of things.
I don't know what you guys think of
And
that.
there will be some players on some bad teams that have some guy that has had a great year.
Yeah.
Maybe was a Pro Bowler, first or second team All Pro, that is higher, and we'll go, oh, really?
Yeah.
Because like you said, it's what the players view as that level.
Okay. So that was where they were. We talked about where Josh would be, and Dion made the list. So offensively for the Bills, who do you think will make it, and who do you think is in consideration to make it?
James Cook will make it.
I think if he is, he's in the 90s.
I agree.
Yeah, because I don't know how many running backs were on last year.
Right.
But if people have him in how they vote, I think he can make it in.
I think he'll make it
relatively high number. Yeah, I think
coming
he can
off the
make
buzz of last year and
1,000
all
yards
the
to 16 touchdowns. Yep.
I think that's it. A guy that should be on it, that won't be on it, is Spencer Brown.
Yeah. I don't think he gets that recognition.
Nope. He's not there yet, but he's a top 100 player.
And I think Dion makes it again.
Yes.
Dion was in the 90s. Pete Prisco did his own one. He had Dion in the 90s. I think he had him in the 90s.
You were talking about our good friend Mike Giardi.
Yeah.
And he was talking about ranking offenses.
So they did their pod.
What's it called again?
The All 32. Yeah. Clever play. Yeah.
I knew it, but I just wanted to throw a little shot at Giardi.
Wow.
I don't even know what your podcast is named.
Wow. Did you hear that?
Just kidding. Go like, comment, subscribe
pod.
to his. Yeah.
They do a nice job. So he and Will Parkinson. So they do that. He covers the Jets.
Yep.
So they did it in a simple way. Take all the offenses, remove the quarterback. Now they put everything in. You're talking about play callers, offensive line, and then the skill position guys around it. And in the AFC, they had the Bills 2. But when you add all those things in,
what did I have when you said
your first number? I think you came up with was 8 or 9.
I thought he said 6 or 7.
Okay, so even in that case,
I thought they were.
I do think if you just said
they weighed the offensive line very heavily, the
and
Bills
play
have
callers, I think too. They
fair,
yeah,
because I looked at it as skill position. As we talked about, it's a big reason why, as Jenna's always banging the drum for the James Cook extension. There isn't a ton of playmakers. Like I know we can push back, but like to sit there and you go through and look at a lot of other teams and you see 2 wide receivers that are top 30 wide receivers.
You have Cincinnati, a good example.
Yep.
Not a good offensive line.
Correct.
Okay in the backfield.
Phenomenal wide receivers.
2 great wide receivers. I would say the Bills as a group, because of the O-line, makes a huge difference.
Do you ever think that the offensive line, grading it ranking it, however you want to say, can be somewhat volatile because injuries play a factor. And I feel like,
Yeah, I think it
It's not
depends
always
on
just-
how you're judging that group, right?
Yeah.
I think the Bills' offensive line is the sum of the parts.
yeah,
They play well together and they stay on the field.
they stay on the field.
And they haven't gotten Deion's the only one that has really gotten the individual recognition
Yeah.
to whatever level. They're all really good players.
But Lane has said on podcasts that Spencer Brown's going to be one of
Yeah.
the best right tackles in the game
Yeah.
sooner rather than
Loves
later.
the way he plays. And, like I said, Lane Johnson's been incredible.
Because I also know people are maybe more the younger audience has been very upset by the Bills being like an 85 in Madden.
Yeah.
People are very upset about that. That may be something I'll have to go around training
Yeah,
camp
training camp will see the numbers.
and ask the questions on how they think they fare.
So anybody else offensively, I don't think Shakir
Nope.
is in there, only because
He's already at 1,000 yards.
right, he's a player that Bills fans love and they should.
Absolutely.
And maybe this year the numbers can rise up, but you're talking about he's in the 25 plus range for wide receivers just because of the numbers, right?
Yeah.
So that shouldn't make the top 100 of the
Right.
NFL. You'd have to be, you need to be by position, you need to be in that 10 plus, depending
Yeah.
on the position, I guess it is in that case. And I don't really think anybody else offensively.
No. And defensively, it should be Benford. But
I think
don't.
Benford might get a little, I think he's developed a good reputation in the league.
Yeah.
And I think he's a good player. Doesn't get the numbers.
Correct.
Everybody likes numbers. They like interceptions. I think Benford is one of those guys with a good year. Maybe he makes it.
Yeah.
And he got paid too. That
Yeah.
always helps.
And I also
But-
think he's one of those PFF really likes him.
Yeah.
And maybe it's more of that one. I guess I could see being a little surprising because that could be one where the common fan, casual fan may not know him,
Right.
but the players may respect his game more than he's recognized.
Yeah. And listen, I
don't think he's in there, but he could be.
we're both big fans of Bernard as a player, but he doesn't have the time on task and the numbers. Go out and he did make some big plays. It's nice when he makes a big play in the AFC divisional final.
Yep.
When he made that play with the strip sacks or the strip of Andrews. So those are the kind of big plays. I don't think there's anybody else who would be in consideration for top 100. Doesn't mean they don't have good players.
Correct.
The top 100. I don't think Rousseau's there. I don't think Ed's there. I think those are players. I don't mean to sound like a wise ass, but if you did top 150 or top 200,
Yes.
they would be in there. But they quickly can go up.
Well, it's what we've always said. This team is built very well 11 to 53.
Yeah.
They don't.
And you're right. And it's that top 10, 11 that would make the
that
top
we just
100.
said make the top 100 list. All right. I know a lot of people are here for the wedding review. So let's bring in the new bride, Jenna Cottrell.
A few moments later.
Well, look at this. We have a special guest for the Buffalo Plus podcast. Straight from, we'll say from the honeymoon, right?
Yeah.
This is a version of the honeymoon, post-wedding. Jenna, how you doing?
My voice is hurting a little bit. My voice is hurting a little bit, but we are relaxing. We're enjoying Cape Cod, and it was. I mean, I'm very biased, but it was such an amazing weekend.
This is the second most impressive guest we've had on recently.
Yes, but we had a pilot.
We had a pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
Brian was way cooler. Full disclosure.
Absolutely. Did it live up to? There were so many people sending out love and support and well wishes. Did it live up to the hype? The big day. How was it?
Well, first off, I know we did like the little pregame interview, which was really cool. And then when you guys posted it, I happened to look at some of the comments. I haven't checked in a while, but the amount of support from the Buffalo Plus fam was like so sweet and so heartwarming. And honestly, like really did help make the weekend so special. So that was amazing. And then the day itself was beyond my wildest dreams. Like Zach and I just felt all of the love, and it was just between the ceremony and the reception and even the brunch and the welcome party, like it was just it was magic. Honestly, it was magic. And just to be around the people we love the most and to just see how happy everyone was and so connected and just like it was amazing. And I do have to tell this story because so we were all at the rehearsal on Friday and we were talking about it because we actually had to move the ceremony inside on Friday because there was tornado warnings on Saturday. And I know you guys knew. I was so bummed because, you know, you take a year and a half to plan and you have this vision of your head of a beautiful outside ceremony. And I was really upset, but I was like, okay, you know what? I'm marrying the love of my life. That's all that matters. And so I was like, all right, I'm sad, but we're going to move the ceremony inside. It's the right call. And then on Saturday morning, I woke up and my photographer came to like where the girls were all getting ready. And he's like, have you looked at the weather? And I was like, no, like, it's just upsetting to me. Like, I don't even want to, you know, out of sight, out of mind. And he's like, no, you should look at the weather because you guys can absolutely do the ceremony outside. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is incredible. So we called and all of our vendors were amazing and they helped turn the ceremony back to outside. And my grandparents, who I've always been really close with, my grandfather who turned 100 a couple of months ago, he actually ended up passing away at the end of May. But I really think it was the two of them and all my loved ones who helped make it just such a wonderful weather day as well. And I was getting ready at the Airbnb and I just called all my vendors and said, hey, the weather looks better. You can move everything back outside. And, you know, there's music playing while we're getting ready. And I can't remember the song, but it's by TLC. The lyrics like hit me that it was like, you're going to have it your way or nothing at all. And I just like, I really felt like that was a message from my grandparents. So
Yeah,
such a wonderful weekend.
That's awesome.
You know what? I just had a thought there. First of all, that was great. It was wonderful to hear you say that. And
Yeah.
credit to Dan and I, we did not interrupt you one time during that.
I thought
I
about
know.
cracking a Bridezilla joke, and I was like, just let her cook.
Yeah.
Just let her cook. This is not the time
No.
to be a sarcastic jerk. I'll let Jenna
Hey,
cook.
I gotta give credit to Dan as well. Like the ceremony was such a good job. You did an amazing job.
He
I'm
crushed it.
glad I went with the rookie. I'm
Yeah.
glad I went with the rookie and I trusted him because it was funny, it was heartwarming, it was perfectly paced. You know, it was a tight, what was it, 15, 20 minutes, like in and
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
He was fantastic. I mean, better than anything else I've ever seen him do. That was he was so good.
I saved
You know
my
what,
bet
Mike?
for my
You know,
biggest moment.
you know what too? He was way less annoying than he is on the Buffalo Plus channel.
There's the
Sorry.
open. It was very cool. And Jenna, to go back to the rehearsal, your day of coordinator was 45 minutes late. Will we say that
Yeah.
conservatively?
I was stressing.
My wife's there, like Jenna's calling again. She was 5 minutes away 3 different times. and I looked at Jenna, I was like, hey, I did a script and like the ceremony for this. I didn't think I was coaching the rehearsal. Like I didn't know that this is what like I was going to be called upon to do. And Jenna was putting on the bravest face ever. She's like, by the way, it's going to be moved inside. And I was like, okay, yeah, like no problem. And she's like, I had my cry, but I'm over it and we're moving forward. And I just knew it was like seething in you and the anger of it. You did such a good job, but then to show up and I was like, what are the chairs doing outside?
Yeah.
Somebody else having something else happening over here?
Yeah.
And you're like, it's outside. So it was awesome.
Yeah.
I give myself an A-.
What would have made it better?
Yeah.
I stumbled over the bit about Zach. Renee said didn't know if it was with a C or an H.
Yeah,
was one
that's fine because there is, you know,
some
there is
people spell Zach
Zach.
Z-A-C.
Yeah.
So it kind of worked.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am most proud of myself. Jen, if it's okay with you, we will put some of the pictures in.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I was invisible. That was what I'm most proud of. I got some advice from John Doss, a friend of ours who officiated my wedding. And he said, don't be nervous, talk slow, and get the fuck out of the way was the advice. And it was right off the bat. I knew as soon as I was saying like, by the power invested in me by the state of New York. And I was like, and I'm gone. And that was all I wanted to do.
Yeah. Honestly,
You did-
it was he did phenomenally well. I said he should hand out business
Yes.
cards. He could get more business.
Seriously. No, Dan, I think this is your calling. Like you're good at TV and stuff, but officiating weddings.
Yeah.
How am I at medical injuries? Medical injuries and hot takes. So.
Right.
Maybe this is my calling. It was really cool. I think it was also special. Like your dad came up to me at the reception and was like, the coolest thing you said was, and it's something I truly do think about with weddings, is that I said, take a second, take a breath. All of these people have never been together before. They will never be together again. And they're here for you guys and the open bar. But 97% of them, I needed the chuckle right off the get-go.
Yeah.
I got it with an open bar line, and then we were off and running.
And I know, Jenna, he took some pitches because I know the way that mind works. He had content in his head. He was ready for it. And I hope that was the only advice I gave him. Is just said, take a pitch. When you're not sure, just take the pitch.
Yeah.
And he did.
He was always looking for the open. So
There was that's true. We were talking about, I had printed off everything, wrote it in the book on
yes,
printed
very
everything off,
impressed by that.
laminated pages, all of that stuff. And we're sitting there and Mike's like, I was like, I'm still trying to work in a like, comment, and subscribe into the ceremony. And Mike's only advice, that's where he came in. He was like, Mike's emceed a lot of things, spoken at a lot of big events, and he goes, just take a pitch. He goes, feel it out. Maybe it's there, maybe it's not. And I think that was a great advice.
Yeah.
You don't need to swing at everyone.
Well, you got the early laugh, which was good.
It was big.
Yes.
And then you're
That-
like, okay, now they're probably wishing for more. Like, but let them wish. Then at that point, I guess it was about Jenna and Zach.
We also talked about things that I wish I said in the ceremony.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to talk about how, it's my first time, doing a wedding. I am ordained. I think. We thought that would have been, we could have thrown, and then I would have been like, just kidding. I think. Like we would have, I could have played up the bit twice.
I didn't realize how official. In fact, I got the video of the official signing. It was like the Declaration of Independence.
It was a big signing.
Well, I guess it's the opposite of independence. You guys are coming together. You had to sign, right?
We signed.
Yeah.
After the cake
we
was
had,
cut.
we had video of the signing. So
And it was
good.
Did you mail Dan?
I mailed it Sunday on our way home.
Mailed it.
Mailed it. Yeah. I even checked which one had the earliest.
Yeah.
I went through the mailbox. I went to a post office. I didn't just drop it at the Wegmans.
Attaboy.
I went to the post office.
Wow. We
Yeah.
love that.
So now it's in the post office.
I would say, honestly, I enjoyed that wedding. In one way, I can say to you, Jenna, I enjoyed that wedding maybe more than any other wedding because the other two that I really enjoyed, I had to pay for. So that made this one
Fair.
even better. And the open bar was nice. Dan and I
very nice.
spent some time at the open bar.
We did.
It was good.
Well,
It was very nice.
Mike, I got a little nervous about you when I checked in early and you're like, oh yeah, Jenny and I are just doing bourbons on the rocks. I was like, oh man.
Well, that's the way we started. And then I just went,
Okay.
honestly, a smart move. Couple bourbons, and then we went to light beer. from
Yeah.
that point.
Just two more things because I don't want to take up your honeymoon. It's awesome that you're coming on to review it because obviously people wanted to know. Are you happy you did the first look? That's Renee's question to you.
1000%. I think I would have been so nervous had we not, but it was so nice just to also have just us. And then we wrote vows for the ceremony together, but then when we did our first look, we did private vows. So it was really nice to have something that was a little bit more intimate, just the two of us, and then also do the vows that you would traditionally see, but we did them together for the ceremony. So first look, 1000% recommend because it just helps with your nerves.
Yeah.
It was our favorite part of our wedding because you're with everybody the entire day, bridesmaids, family. It's the one time that you just got to be with your significant other.
Before you get to your next point, Jenna, I also want to say Buffalo Plus has made a transaction. We've acquired a linebacker.
That's
we
true.
We haven't said now Zach is cool. Zach doesn't seek the limelight, but whatever
Yes.
let people know what a good dude you married.
Oh my God. Zach is the best. He's so sweet. And like, we joke that I saw this like reel one time that was like a successful relationship is two things, like two types of people, a back of the house person and a front of the house person. And Zach and I think you guys are kind of the same way, but I am definitely a front of the house person. And so I just think Zach is truly the most patient, loving, supportive. Like when I asked him, I was like, hey, I think I might pop on the podcast really fast. He was like, oh my God, absolutely. Like tell the guys I say hi. Like just, he's the best. I
He's
can't
really
believe that I found him.
He really is.
Oh,
Honestly.
oh my God, 1,000%. Literally 1,000%.
Credit to Zach
Yeah.
because he did
He
so
did.
well. Okay, through
He did.
all of this. And the funniest thing is that, like, talking to him, like I said, I've known him.
Yeah.
We went to high school together. He was a grade younger than me. But the fact of he hated the attention. Like deep
Yes.
down, it was the best day of his life. But after the ceremony, I was like, is this crazy taking all these pictures? I was joking, oh, does your face hurt? And he's like, I want to slither into the corner and disappear. like Zach just wanted to see everybody else have a good time. He doesn't want any pictures. He doesn't want any of that stuff. Obviously, it's a wedding and you do those things, but that was it was so cool. Lastly, for me, we have to address the odds.
Okay.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. I thought you were going to talk about my dad's dance moves.
That was okay. Your dad is the best.
Yeah.
Also a very physically terrifying human being. One of the largest human. His hands. He touched me. He hit my back.
Yeah.
At the rehearsal when he saw me, and he went like, "Hey Dan, good to see you."
Hey, he knocked you over?
I said, no, you knocked the wind out of it. And he's like, just wanted you to know I was here. And but
I describe my dad as built like a refrigerator box.
Yeah, he's
yes. His hands are like bear paws.
Well,
They're catcher's gloves.
Yeah. And Zach's dad's a big dude too. Like
yes, he is.
Your dad is just imposing.
But we were sitting there before the ceremony, and it was so cool because it's like all the bridesmaids, all the groomsmen, we're all like hanging out in this room, and the groomsmen are having a couple beers, and I was like, I'm kind of nervous, and I was like looking over my shoulder, like, if I crack a beer, is Ben gonna kill me? like, hey, as my wife, you married my daughter here, like, pull it together. But the odds we talked about in the pregame video, no tears. No tears from me. Zach cried. We didn't have odds for him.
Yeah.
Jenna cried during the ceremony.
Yep.
And
a little bit. I wasn't sobbing.
No, because I was good.
Yeah.
You were tearing up a little bit. It was
no. Listen, if you look, I checked. Terrible day for allergies in Saratoga. It was awful.
That's what they all say, Kat.
It did coincide with you walking down. It's big. Dads walking their daughters down the aisle is big with me. That is big. And
It's
to
really
see you there, not to sound sappy, but to see you there with everything you've been through was really something. I'm always proud of you, but I was really proud of you that day. So now it's done. Now we're done. Now we're not proud of you anymore. But it really was sweet.
Back to normal.
I lost it at the father-daughter dance. Like that was one of those things where it's like, again, knowing I have 3 daughters and thinking about me being up there, that was like, whoa.
Yeah.
But Mike touched his face. That was the official ruling. We have Jenny and Renee confirming Mike teared up when you were walking down the aisle.
Yeah.
So
I'm
for everybody that
bullshit here, but
so for everybody that had the odds on me crying, nope. And your dad did a reverse worm on the dance floor.
Yes.
We're gonna call it the inchworm.
And Mike's dance moves,
fantastic.
Unbelievable.
We do the same move over and over and over again. You just get those arms going. You do the,
How's it go? One more time, Mike.
Oh, you want me to?
Yeah, I just want the dance.
There you go.
There it is.
That's it.
There it is.
Just nonstop.
That's it.
Jenny was dragging me out there.
It was a very, very fun.
It was
wedding.
Great wedding.
So I know a lot of people wanted to hear the review. So it was awesome.
Yeah, the reviews. What 5 stars?
All right, go enjoy the honeymoon.
Yes.
You're on vacation.
Okay. Yes.
I'm on vacation next week. Mike's on vacation later this week. We will catch back up again. We have more stuff coming up later.
Real quick. 2 things. 1, again, thank you to everyone who shared their love. It was so appreciated. And 2, thank you to you both because you know how much I love you. And the day would not have been the same without you there. So I just want to say how much I love you guys and I appreciate everything that you do for me, both today and on Saturday and every day.
Love you too.
My allergies
Love
are
you.
bugging me again.
Yeah, I know. Seriously. I texted Mike when
All
he goes, video's doing well. And I was like, the comments are incredible. And we both texted.
They're
I texted
so
you
nice.
and I said, it's crazy what we've built.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah.
And to think I invited
so
Mike to my
sweet.
wedding just as a long play.
And it worked.
And it worked. All right, Jenna.
All right.
Enjoy
All right.
your time.
Love you
Tell-
guys. I'll talk
Bye.
to you.
All right.
Bye.
That was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, she let her hair grow.
I know.
I know.
That's
right?
when you know she's relaxed.
She's relaxed.
The newly
Dan
married,
and I straightened our hair
Yeah,
for
we
the
actually-
for the pod.
Yeah, we sat at the wedding with the hairdresser,
Yes.
your
Heather.
hairdresser,
Shout
Jenna's
out to
hairdresser,
Heather. Yeah.
dresser that set Zach and Jenna up.
Yeah. I will say I said it to her. It was an awesome wedding. It was great. Damn, you were good.
Thanks, man.
Man, I was hoping to have something to bust your chops
Yeah.
about.
I was very nervous.
Yeah.
I was telling Renee about it, the fact of pretty nervous like the week before, being
Yeah.
like, never done this, all this stuff. And I remember telling Jenna, I was like, all right, like it's all done, it's all written out. I was like, I think it's like 6 to 7 minutes, my stuff in the beginning. And she was like, that's a lot. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'll trim
She
it back.
was ready to cut you
Yeah.
back right away.
Yeah. So we went back, we trimmed it up. And then it was funny because the day of the wedding, we had to hotel hop because I made the mistake. And maybe other people have been there too.
Hold on. This is why I booked the travel for Buffalo
Yes.
Plus.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope to one day be in your shoes to have to worry about that. But a while ago, I had booked hotel rooms in the block for the wedding. Then Mike's like, hey, by the way, there's a Marriott. We stay in Marriott's when we travel. So I was like, you could stay there and use your points and free room. So I was like, perfect. Go there, go to book it 3-4 months ago. Made sure I had room. And I pressed Friday and Saturday, thinking I was booking the rooms for Friday and Saturday. And then a month ago, my wife and I had planned a trip. So I was like, oh, let me just make sure all my trips are set. And I saw one night and I went, that's not right.
By the way, this is Saratoga, New York, which is awesome. Saratoga
In the summer.
Like it is ready to explode there. Like the guy was telling us these hotels in this next week going forward, crazy. Like it's insane there. So all the restaurants and
Yeah.
everything. So
So I like called them and they were like, I was like, I meant to book 2 nights.
Yeah.
I booked 1 and they were like, that's
Yeah.
tough. And I was like, so we were scrambling to find another hotel in downtown Saratoga just for Saturday.
yeah.
So we did that. So we obviously had to go up Friday and then the checkout was at 11. The check-in at the new hotel on Saturday, the day of the wedding, wasn't until 3.
Oh,
So I called them like the week before, was like, hey, can I get in early? Like we need an early check-in. We have a wedding. I need to be there by 4. Renee's got to get ready. And they're like, we can't promise anything.
yeah. It's like a Friday into a Saturday.
Yeah.
That's
And they were like, by the
worst
way,
thing.
we're fully booked. So like, we can't promise anything.
Yeah.
And I didn't do, have you ever done the $20
For what?
like when you check in?
for the late checkout?
No, like when you're checking into a hotel
Oh,
and you're
for
like,
early check.
yeah, you're
oh,
like,
I would have spent it then.
yeah, I didn't. But Renee's also really pushy. So she was like, I'll go in there and I'll talk to the front desk. And so like we tried to check in at like noon and they're like, we don't have anything. So we just went around nervous about when we were going to be able to check in. We got into the room by 1, but it was one of those things. So that was,
Yeah, it's
that was
hard to
part of
even
it.
get the late checkout
Yeah.
on those days because everything is busy. By the way, during the wedding, so it starts, and Jenna, like we said, was great going up
Amazing.
there. And then Dan knocks it out of the park. So I put the power rankings. I said to you, sorry, Jenna, but
Yes.
Dan's number 1, Jenna's number 2. She was great, but like you really excelled in
Thank
your
you.
moment. And then Alyssa passed both of you guys.
Shout out to the maid of honor,
Jenna's
Alyssa
sister.
Cottrell. She
Crushed it.
crushed it. We got to have her on the pod. I
She
mean, it's-
also included a like, comment, subscribe. She Buffalo Plused it up for us.
she it took me a second because she came out with so much energy and she was going after Jenna's parents, which was very heartfelt
Yeah.
and beautiful. And then she comes in there and she goes, that's Zach Smith. She's Jenna Cottrell. I'm
I love
Alyssa
Alyssa.
Cottrell. Please
Please
be sure to like,
comment, subscribe.
It was-
Excellent.
It
Yeah.
was phenomenal. She
Crushed it.
she got in Jenna getting run over by Mike Evans.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful, and I'm sure she's going to listen to this while they're up at the Cape. So this will be very nice but
yeah, she crushed it.
Alyssa
Now,
won.
listen, we can say eventually we'll put Jenna back at 1.
Yeah.
But for right now, while we're reviewing in this moment,
not right now. Next week, another guest.
Yes, I can say this.
Yeah.
We're all set for this. It's one of the directors of Hard Knocks.
Very cool.
Yes. So we will be talking to the director about what they look for, what they're looking for in Rochester, what they're looking for with the Bills. So to give you a little preview of what they're thinking about for Hard Knocks.
Talk about what do they like for patio setups?
I know.
Like
maybe they'll come see us.
Like all of that stuff. So that'll be really cool. I'll be remote next
Yes.
week because I'm heading out to vacation with the family as well. Tons of good stuff though.
Yeah.
Again, I thought the pre-wedding ceremony thing was funny, and as Jenna mentioned,
people were really
very nice
super
comments.
nice. Yeah.
So appreciate that as always. That'll do it for us. He's Mike Catalana. I'm Dan Fates. To the newlyweds, Jenna and Zach, congratulations. And remember, if you didn't get them a gift, just remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It'll mean just as much to them. We'll catch you here next time on the Buffalo Plus podcast presented by Connors and Ferris.